All right, so 168 listings. You're like in the 1% of the 1%. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What's your primary lead gen source that yields those listings? Hey there, Dan. Thanks so much for agreeing to talk to us today.
Hey, Jay. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
What was your production for last year approximately?
Last year, my team closed 261 transactions for about $66 million in volume.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's an amazing business.
Appreciate that.
What percentage of your business is listings today?
So we closed 168 listing transactions last year.
How many people are on your team? How many licenses are on the team, and what's your role?
I have 5 agents on the team right now and 3 admin, plus myself, actually, so 6 agents.
Right, and you're primarily the listing agent. You're the listing specialist, would you say?
Yes.
All right, so 168 listings. Like, I did the math a few years ago, and if you took, I think, 10 listings, you'd be in the top 5% of all listers in our industry. Wow. Which shows you how concentrated it is. And so to get a chance to talk to someone who did 168, you're like in the 1% of the 1%. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What's your primary lead gen source that yields those listings?
A lot of our business comes from repeat customers, database, referrals, agent-to-agent referrals. A lot of it is this through the relationships that we have.
Okay. So walk me through what that looks like. You've got a machine, you're working your database. How are y'all working the database for repeat and referral business?
So quarterly calls.
Okay.
Working off of the touch plan of 33, 36 touch plan. And we do about 4 client events a year. So we always like to try and give back during those. As well. So I think people see that it's not just about the business opportunity, for us, but it's more about building community. I was big on
Are some of your 4 calls a year to invite people to those events, or is that a whole separate invitation system?
So there is a separate invitation system for that. So our ISA, he does make calls to invite to the events and make sure that he's connecting with our database on that and sending text messages through that platform as well.
Cool. All right, I'm going to go deeper on that in a second. So you have quarterly calls. You do some form of the 36 touch, right? Everybody's got their spin on it. A lot of people are doing more than 36 quote when you add it all up.
I'm sure. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure we do more of just, trying to stay focused on something at least.
And you've got the client events. Anything else stand out as something big that you work on that helps drive these listing leads?
One of the things we did implement last year was more pay per click.
Okay.
And that did help. So we did generate opportunity based off of, searches, SEO searches and such.
So the quarterly calls, that is, all of our research shows that if you only did one thing on your database, would be to do that. But it's also kind of intimidating when you have a big database. So I want to dive a little deeper into this. First off, when you think about the database you're working, do you know roughly how many people you're trying to connect with?
So personally, 800 to 1,000.
Wow.
And like you just said, it can be a little intimidating. So I had a glitch with my database many years ago, and it definitely set that intimidation into play for me because I'm like, wow, I got to rebuild this touch plan to make it automated. You've
got 365 days and you've got 4,000 calls to make.
Yeah.
So that's more than 10 a day if you worked every day.
Yeah.
So walk me through, how do you organize it so that you're personally doing this? It's not something you divide up with the team.
I'm working on getting the ISA more in tune with that. However, it is something that I'm personally doing.
Okay. When I interviewed Josh Anderson many years ago, he did the same thing. He had someone shadow him and do it for a while, but he really wanted it to be coming from the mega, the leader of the pack.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I definitely am in agreement there.
So walk me through, how do you make it happen? How do you know who you've called and who you need to call? And what do you know to say? Like people stop for all the reasons that I don't know who to call. I don't know what to say if I did know who to call, right? And then after I call them, I don't know what to do with the information.
Oh, I've had it all. I felt every bit of that. And the key thing is just being authentic. So the way that I have situated it was many, many years ago, before I came over to Keller Williams, I started the Brian Buffini system. And I started with the database of, my top 100, which then continued to grow. And then I definitely do still categorize the database.
So, but over the last 17 or 16 years, you've gone from doing 100 to 150 to, right, you're now trying to connect with 800 to 1,000. So walk me through, what does that look like? How do you make that happen?
So it's automating it. It's making sure that I have the plan set up to where once I click that call was made, the next call is generated 90 days from then.
And everybody, just for, TCPI compliance sake, like everybody on your 800 or your 1,000, these are all people that you have a permission, they're past clients. You have the permission to be calling them.
Absolutely.
Right. Got it.
Yes. So these are all people that I have a connection with.
Got it.
This is not a cold call. So most of them, like I said, I've dealt with every emotion there. Most of these people want to hear from me. And then the ones that don't have simply said, hey, do you mind not reaching out anymore?
Okay.
Which was kind of a shock, but it happens. You never know what they're going through.
Got it. So every day, you start. How much time and how many days do you work this system? Like, do you take some time off, or do you literally work 365?
No, I definitely take some time off. I have 3 kids and my wife, and we like to enjoy our life as well. But it's every work day.
Okay.
I've been 20 contacts a day, every work day has always been the goal. Some days you get there, some days you don't, but you got to keep on going that very next day and pick it right back up.
All right. So when do you start? Do you do this as a ritual between 8 and 10? How long does it take?
So database calls, I've typically been between 9 and 11. I never like to call them before 9 o'clock for some reason.
Okay.
But it's been systematic with that, right? So and if I can't get to it in the morning, I put it on the calendar for the afternoon, and I just make sure that I'm getting through those calls. I'm a very checklist oriented person, so I don't like to see things have to go over to the next day.
So you'll also spend some time in the afternoon if you miss some of them. I got it.
Absolutely.
So what constitutes a call? If you leave a really actual message, right? You're like, hey, I'm sorry I missed you, Jay. Does that count as a connection, or do you actually have to have a two-way?
What I have done over the past with the database has been, because I am reaching out so frequently, that to me is a touch to them.
Okay.
But I do, realistically, I want to have that conversation or a two-way text message with them. Sometimes I will shoot them a text message just to check in, see how things are. Now the conversations are, obviously we know what's going on in real estate now and the world in general. So it's, it started out to be care calls when COVID happened. Now it's, man, the real estate market's so crazy. You must be so busy, and they automatically come to me with that before I even start talking to them about anything.
Right. Because they know you've established this relationship. They got it. 20 calls over 2 hours. So these are not long conversations in general.
No, some of them do end up being very long, and I do feel bad if I have to cut it off. But you have to learn how to get off of that call at times, because some people are just very, very chatty.
You're leaving a message, right? So what does that look like if you're calling Jay?
So, hey, Jay, it's Dan Mauz, your realtor. How you doing? Just wanted to reach out to you and check in on you and your family, see how everything's going. Would love to chat with you soon. Give me a call when you have a chance. And it could be as simple as that.
So there's no ask for business in that. If you're talking, how do you get the referrals? Do you go back to the classic Buffini, oh, by the way, or is there something that you do now that's kind of more uniquely yours, Dan Mauz?
Yeah, stay focused on, where the conversation's going. And if real estate comes up, as it normally does, or I lead it to, I asked that. Right now is more or less, hey, have you ever thought about, when this market changes, have you thought about investing in real estate?
Yeah.
Do you know anybody that is investing in real estate? So that's kind of the conversation of the moment for us. And then also, most of the times, a lot of the people I've had contact with someone that they did refer. So bringing up that person's name and saying, hey, have you talked to them in a while? How they doing? Or something along the lines of that. And then, if you know anybody else that needs any help, I'm always here.
Love that. So you say help. That makes me think about like MOFers in general. Like they're usually around this idea of solving the biggest problems that sellers are currently facing. You work with a lot of sellers. What unique challenges are you having to help them with right now due to the market conditions?
Right now is if I sell, where do I go?
Okay. Because they're leaving the market or staying in the market?
Well, they want to stay in the market. And I have found that a lot of New Jerseyans tend to want to relocate a little bit more south Carolina, Florida, a little bit warmer.
We get a few of them in Texas.
But even those markets have been. Yeah.
They're moving also to lower tax districts as well, is what we've seen.
Right, exactly. That is absolutely critical with New Jersey, is that the big thing is about taxes and how to lower their payment.
So, number one is, where do I go? And is that more about, if I sell my house, is it still so competitive there that they're afraid they won't be able to secure another place to live?
Yeah, it's still very competitive here, and there's a lot. There's not a lot of inventory still. So until that inventory creeps up, I don't know they're going to feel better about that.
So Dan, I want to trade up my house. I really do. Now that, Gus and Edward have moved out, I really want to kind of downsize into a place that's just for me and Wendy. But I'm afraid that we sell the house, we won't have any place to go.
Jay, I completely understand what you're saying there. I've heard it many times. And that is definitely the key thing, is we have to talk about, the end goal before we do anything. Why don't we get together and chat about that?
Okay, so you're not going to do it on the phone. You're going to get them in person and then walk them through a bigger plan.
I'd rather do that, because then you can see their reactions, you can see their emotions behind it, and it's going to tell you if they're really serious about making this happen.
Okay. You're going on a lot of listing appointments. What's your how many listing appointments do you set as a goal for yourself each week to stay on target for your goals?
My personal goals have been 8 to 10 a week.
And how many do you expect to net out of those?
With more coming in from outside sources, percentages are a little bit more in line with the Red Book. But when it's primarily database, you're talking 80, 90%, or if they're ready to go. It's only if they're really not ready to go that you're not taking it right then.
So some of them are going to end up being nurtures, right? You know that you're getting the listing, but it's going to be farther in the future.
Some are going to be a long term. I think that's one of the key things with listings, is you have to follow up. You have to just touch every few weeks, or every month, every other month, whatever calls for their motivation.
So thank you for sharing. Hopefully we highlighted the best stuff for you, and it's really good to get to chat with you.
Thank you, Jay.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview. If you'd like to see more and learn more about real estate, check out some of our other content. Go ahead, just click on one and explore.